What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about the cowardly grift, the cowardice of Rania Khaled. Honestly, she's a disgrace to the entire Lebanese diaspora. We don't claim her. She is a liberal Zionist grifter. And we're going to talk about several instances of Khaled's liberal Zionist grift. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. There will also be a video calling out Jared Ball as a liberal Zionist. That will be coming up soon. Stay tuned. It's going to be dropping in the next couple days. So check it out. Rania Khaled is a Zionist grifter. There is no two ways about it, right? And our first instance of Zionist grifting that Rania Khaled has participated in is platforming Jamal Bowman, the Zionist circus clown, right? So Jamal Bowman is a Zionist. And why is Rania Khaled platforming him? So let's check it out. So Jamal Bowman sponsored the Ceasefire Now resolution October 16, 2023. And this resolution would disarm the Palestinian resistance. But Jamal Bowman in 2020 took $1,500 from AIPAC, from Zionist lobby groups such as AIPAC. Jamal Bowman took $2,048 from Zionist individuals. In 2022, Jamal Bowman took $2,500 from the Zionist lobby, including AIPAC, and Jamal Bowman took $24,204 from Zionist individuals. We also have a supplemental. So Jamal Bowman's clearly a Zionist, right? Miko Peled. So the further cowardice of Rania Khaled and the duplicitness and the Zionist normalization of Rania Khaled continues when she platforms a literal Zionist settler, Miko Peled, who is a grifter that has made his entire career off promoting Palestine, even though he and his family are largely guilty of genocide and settler colonialism. And Peled, and so let's review who Miko Peled is. Actually, let's get to why she is funding, why Rania Khaled is a sellout and a grifter. And Peled would be described as a post-Zionist. So we've got some supplemental information here. Shout out to the Good Shepherd Collective. So Peled would be considered a post-Zionist. Now, what is a post-Zionist? Post-Zionism is a stage of identity and political ideology that accepts Zionism as a historical, political, religious, and cultural development for majority Jews globally. Instead of rejecting Zionism entirely, post-Zionists seek to move beyond it as an individual choice, viewing it as a historical event rather than something inherently tied to the current systems of capitalism and imperialism. Post-Zionists validate the Zionist settler identity to drive the permanence of the colonial entity belong its nature as a settlement and outpost to the USA and forge it as a viable nation. Viability is often driven by constant, unnecessary reminders of anti-Semitism projected on moments of Palestinian strife or reaffirming Zionist-invented identities. We also have some supplementals on Bowman. Do I have them? No, I don't. Do I? No, I don't. I don't know. But either way, actually, let's go through. No, we'll talk about why Rania Khaled is a coward. What is Breakthrough News? Who is funding Breakthrough News? Because it's clear Rania Khaled is platforming grifters, platforming literal Zionist settlers, and she has a pattern of this behavior. And we'll talk about Amanda Yee. I have a whole video about Amanda Yee because there is this pattern of Zionist normalization among Breakthrough News. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. So Breakthrough News also platforms these Chinese grifters such as Amanda Yee. But why? Who funds Breakthrough News? This man right here, Neville Roy Singham, this geriatric baby boomer Sri Lankan, who is a puppet of China. Here's what the Wikipedia says. Neville Roy Singham is an American businessman and social activist. He is the founder of .works, an IT consulting company that provides software tools, and consulting services, which he sold to a private equity firm for $785 million US in 2017. In 2019, Singham started a consulting business with partners who are active in the propaganda apparatus of the Chinese Party and who co-own a company with a municipal government that promotes anti-poverty policies. Singham is a literal puppet of China. He is also the husband of Jody Evans, who is a co-founder of Code Pink. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Why do you think Code Pink is a Zionist organization? Again, who's the guy? Ryan Wentz. They have that Zionist cuck, Ryan Wentz, fucking working for them, who literally went to school in occupied 1948 Palestine when he was in college and is a fucking Zionist shill. Why do you think they platform Zionists like Rose Asaf, who's a literal Zionist settler? Singham's father, Archibald Singham, was Sri Lankan, and his mother was Cuban. Que bola, seré. Right? In his youth, Singham was a member of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers, a black nationalist Maoist group, taking a job at a Chrysler plant in Detroit in 1972 as an activist in the group. He attended Howard University before starting a consulting firm for equipment leasing companies from his Chicago home. Singham has founded .works, a Chicago-based IT consulting company that provides custom software tools and consulting services. In the late 1980s, it was incorporated in 1993. From 2001 to 2008, Singham was a strategic consultant for Huawei. In 2005, .works opened up offices in China. By 2008, .works employed 1,000 people and was growing at a rate of 20-30% PA with bases around the world. Its clients included Microsoft, Zionist Oracle, major banks, and the Guardian newspaper. That's a red flag there. Singham owns 90% of the common stock in this company. And by 2010, its clients included Daimler AG, Siemens, and Barclay, and had opened a second headquarters in Bangalore. In 2010, he opened ThoughtWorks' fifth agile software company in Beijing, where he spoke about his influence on Huawei. So ThoughtWorks' fifth agile software development conference. As Singham sold the company to private equity firm Apex Partners in 2017 for $785 million, by which time it had 4,500 employees across 15 countries, including South Africa and Uganda. I'm sure it had employees in the US, China, and Canada as well. Its chief scientist, Martin Fowler, wrote that Singham had not been involved in the running of the business for some years by that time. Yeah, right, I don't buy that. After selling the company, he moved to China, where he owns or co-owns a number of businesses based there. That sounds like tax evasion. He started a consulting business with partners active in the Chinese Communist Party propaganda apparatus in 2019. Singham has business interests in Chinese companies in the food and consultancy markets as of 2023, and he probably doesn't even work on the fucking grill line or whatever. He's not even a fucking line cook. Probably not, right? How much you want to bet he's never been a line cook in his fucking life? As of 2023, his office is located in Shanghai and is shared by the Mako Group, whose goal is to educate foreigners about the miracles, the quote-unquote miracles, the miracles that China has created on the world stage, and has been given nearly $1.8 billion in funding. Oh, geez, he's a fucking China bender. Singham is a China bender. Singham is a puppet of Zionist China. Singham praised Hugo Chavez, describing Venezuela under his rule as a phenomenally democratic place. He also described his admiration for Zionist China, where ThoughtWorks had a growing operation, describing it as a model for governance. China is teaching the West that the world is better off with a dual system of both free market adjustments and long-term planning. Right? He sounds like a grifter. He is the supporter of WikiLeaks and its founder Julian Assange, speaking at it in his defense at a 2011 event hosted by the Real News Network, alongside fellow activist, software businessman, and libertarian douchebag Peter Thiel, and his former intelligence whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg. He sounds like a grifter. Alongside Ellsberg, he has also advocated for Jeremy Hammond and Aaron Swartz. Swartz, that sounds like a Zionist-y last name there. Swartz was working at ThoughtWorks when he committed, you know what, while facing prosecution by the U.S. government. Singham, a longtime friend of Swartz, described his prosecution as part of a coordinated campaign. After the invasion of Ukraine, Singham was quietly funding efforts to oppose NATO enlargement. In 2023, Singham joined a Communist Party workshop about the international promotion of the Chinese Communist Party. According to his associates, Singham is an admirer of Maoism. In 2021, India's Enforcement Directorate named Singham in a money laundering case, alleging that he was the source of 380 million rupees given to the Indian news site People's Dispatch between 2018 and 2021 to promote a pro-Chinese narrative to the Indian media. The funds were alleged to have passed through a network of companies and NGOs, including the Delaware-based Worldwide Media Holdings, allegedly owned by Singham, and the Justice and Education Fund, G-Span LLC, and the Tricontinental Institute, which allegedly share the same address in the U.S., and Centro Popular de Mídias, Brasil. According to a January 2022 report by New Lines Magazine of the New Lines Institute, a think tank led by Hassan at the Fairfax University of America, Singham has donated almost $65 million to nonprofits, including Code Pink, that take Beijing's side on genocide allegations. Oh, there's a lot of genocide allegations against China. We'll get into China's genocide, participation in genocide in Palestine and settler colonialism in Palestine. We'll talk about it. And that's part of this expose. According to a May 2023 article in the Daily Beast, there are connections between Singham and organizations on the left that are promoting CCP talking points, including Breakthrough News, People's Dispatch, another member of the International People's Media Network. I don't know why I'm saying in a Desi accent. The article said that there were overlapping personnel because they're funded by Singham, of course. The article said there were overlapping personnel at a number of these organizations and media outlets without actual office locations. The article said some members of Breakthrough News' leadership are affiliated with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, aka the China Benders. In August 2023, the New York Times reported, and I hate the New York Times, reported that Singham works closely with the Chinese government and state media and donates to various groups and news organizations and entities through nonprofit groups and shell companies which spread pro-Chinese government messages. Chinese state media accounts have retweeted people and organizations in Mr. Singham's network 122 times since February 2020. The nonprofits distributing the funding include the United Community Fund, Justice and Education Fund, People's Support Foundation, and have addresses at UPS store mailboxes in Illinois, Wisconsin, and New York, and headed by Jody Evans or former ThoughtWorks employees. Funded groups include an Indian-based independent news site, NewsClick, that the Times described as having sprinkled its coverage with Chinese government talking points. In South Africa, the Nkrumah School, the Socialist Revolutionary Workers' Party, and the New Frame news startup, whose editor had resigned in 2022 citing its soft coverage of China and Russia, the Brasil de Fato newspaper in Brazil, and activist groups No War, Code Pink, People's Forum, and Tricontinental in the United States. In the response to the Times report, Singham said that he was not a member of, work for, take orders from, or follow directions of any political party, government, or their representatives. Following the August 2023 New York Times report, Senator Marco, also known as Marica Rubio, or Maricon Rubio, asked the U.S. State Department of Justice to open an investigation into the entities related to Singham for potential violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. The Delhi police also opened an investigation to NewsClick, focused on funding by Singham and its role in pushing a pro-China narrative. The police alleged that email communications between Singham, Vijay Prashad, and Prabir and their associates established that Singham was actively pursuing the China line on COVID, despite mounting criticism of the same from the international community. Singham is seen clearly nudging Prabir, PKK, and the PKK NewsClick team to peddle a Chinese version. It also accused Singham and his associates with creating a web of organizations to funnel money into NewsClick. You can make a song out of NewsClick. There needs to be a parody song. Someone please use that. Singham lives in Shanghai, China. He is married to CodePink co-founder Jody Evans, who has become pro-China after marrying Singham in 2017. Singham has also become a major donor to CodePink, with organizations from his network providing around a quarter of the budget. His son Nathan Singham works for the Tricontinental Institute for Social Research, which he funds. And you know who else is involved with that shit? Vijay Prashad, aka Vijay Pajit, the Jeet himself. We'll do a whole video on Vijay Prashad, aka Vijay Pajit. So yeah, holy shit. So we've talked about him before, but Vijay Prashad, born 1967, is an Indian historian, author, journalist, political commentator, and fake intellectual. He is the executive director of the Tricontinental Institute for Social Research, editor of Leftward Books, chief correspondent at Globetrotter, and senior non-representative at Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies, Renmin University of China. Ideologically a Marxist, Prashad is well known for his criticisms of capitalism, his shilling for China. So, again, Prashad's a China bender, and we'll do a whole video of Prashad and China. We'll do and that's actually ties, and it's also gonna tie into this video. Vijay Pajit shilling for the Zionist China. But here's the criticism about Vijay Prashad, aka Vijay Pajit. Prashad has come under international scrutiny for his association with Neville Roy Singham, who has been accused of funding and promoting pro-Chinese government messaging and causes via a network of organizations, including the Prashad-associated Tricontinental Institute, NewsClick, the People's Forum, Breakthrough News, and Globetrotter. Prashad has responded to all the criticism, deeming it scurrilous and characterizing it as an attempt to conjure a conspiracy from something that is no secret at all, as well as a pretended scoop based on public statements that I and others have made. The critics uncovered no conspiracy and had no scoop, only innuendo. Only innuendo. Do not redeem innuendo. Do not redeem. Oh, shit. So, and then here's the Daily Beast article. I hate the Daily Beast. Oh, paywall. You suck, Daily Beast. You fucking suck, Daily Beast. You Zionist cucks. So here's this Miko Peled guy. Again, we've covered him before as a Zionist grifter, as a settler. This man, he's a Zionist settler. Abraham Miko Peled, born in 10 December 1961, is a Zionist settler, Zionist terrorist, and grifter, who has made a living off of grifting for Palestine. So guess what? He was born at Qudus in 61, and he grew up on a literal Zionist settlement built on stolen Palestinian land. His grandpa Abraham Katz Nelson, was a Zionist terrorist. His dad, Matityahu Peled, was a Zionist terrorist. Right? And was involved in the Six-Day War of 1966. So this man, his entire family is Zionist terrorists. Of course, Susan Abu Walha, the fucking Fateh grifter, the Fateh grifter is going to show for him. But there is a clear pattern of his Zionist grifting. So Khaled joined his father's footsteps in the special forces and then became a medic. So Khaled's a liberal Zionist. He's involved with Peace Now. And eventually he ended up in San Diego. He went to the Zionist shithole named Japan and then went to San Diego. And so his sister, who's a Zionist terrorist, she met her fate from the Palestinian resistance, Palestinian martyrs. So guess what? So Khaled is a Zionist grifter. All right? This is what he is, man. He has blood on his hands. And we're going to bring up some, he's a Zionist grifter. There's no two ways about it. So Khaled would be called a post-Zionist. So Khaled wrote in June 2012 that the Zionist entity is faced with two options. Continue to exist as a Jewish state controlling the Palestinians through military force and racist laws, or undertake a deep transformation into a real democracy where Zionist settlers and Palestinians live as equals in a shared state, their shared homeland. What? So, again, Miko Khaled, he wants to normalize the Zionist entity. He is a Zionist settler. He has blood on his hands. Because the oppressed should never tolerate living side by side with their oppressors. Palestinians are an oppressed. The Palestinians are an oppressed people. I am part Palestinian. I should never have to live side by side against my oppressors. Miko Khaled wants Palestinians to live and coexist with their oppressors. And let's see what Good Shepherd has to say about this. So this is what Good Shepherd has to say, because they indirectly call out Miko Khaled. We are 6 months into a genocide, and Zionist settler allies and anti-occupation activists in Palestine have only offered self-centered parades that do not call on the end of genocide or colonization. They condemn resistance and call for a peace while failing to even utter the word colonization. These allies, these fake allies, ask us to condemn October 7th. They cry for peace, but don't note that Palestinians haven't seen any image of quote-unquote peace or even quote-unquote coexistence, not over 6 months as Palestinians have been slaughtered in a concentration camp built and maintained by Zionist settler hands. Not ever. These fake allies have given no sacrifices, but tell Palestinians to put down arms, march peacefully so we can take photos for our funders, they announce, before going to sleep in their expensive Arab-style homes in West Qudus. We will teach you English in returns. These fake allies build their careers on our backs, on our prisoners, on our dead. These fake allies cling to every ounce of privilege, then pretend there is a parallel between Palestinian resistance and colonial violence. Stop uplifting their voices. Stop listening. Again, Khaled is a Zionist, okay? Here's another gem. Oh, that has to do with JVP. We're going to do a whole video about JVP, another video, because some idiots in America don't realize that JVP are Zionist normalizers. So collecting donations in the name of Palestinian liberation while expecting us to mourn the loss of Zionist settlers who have been butchering children is a statement of freaks. Every branch of this organization is complicit in franchising Zionism. Leave them and start something new. Shout out to Good Shepherd Collective. And then Again, oh, this is another banger, another gem, a web gem. Shout out to people that know that reference. A web gem. This is a web gem, right? Another little baseball reference by me. Containing opposition rather than attempt to eradicate it. The disagreement between right-wing and left-wing Zionists, who even claim to be anti-Zionist, Miko Peled, is the strategy each is willing to take to protect the Zionist entity. Both view each other as risking the Zionist entity. Should they keep occupying and annexing, they risk a Jewish majority state. NGOs have turned into a modern tool of colonialism. Here's the funding web. Again, we're going to do a whole video on JVP. So Rockefeller, the FMEP funds the Rockefellers who fund and open societies who fund JVP. I don't know which one organizations those are, but FMEP funds the New Zionist Fund, J Street, not sure who that is. Adallah, not sure who that is. Tides Foundation, If Not Now. Nathan Cummings founds If Not Now. The Tides, JLA, New Zionist Fund, Jewish Currents. FMEP funds 972. Standing Together, B'Tselem, not sure who that is. Also, FMEP funds Adallah Project, Institute for Middle East Understanding, Al-Shabaka, Just Vision, Palestine Legal, Breaking the Silence. All these Zionist groups fund each other, man. It's a funding web, as if not as Good Shepherd Collector puts it. So this is relating to Jamal Bowman, the other coward, the Zionist coward. This fucking myostatin deficient Zionist coward being promoted, who takes money from Zionists, by the way, being promoted by this fucking cuck, this coward and opportunist Rania Khaled. So, Good Shepherd Collective, May 2024. The critical view of Bowman, AOC, and other politicians propped up by quote-unquote pro-Palestine NGOs. The two-state solution / Oslo Accords, and this is why I hate Norway from the bottom of my heart, the two-state solution / Oslo Accords is a tool of imperialism. When JVP, JFREJ, If Not Now, Adallah Project, and other liberal NGOs champion Bowman and AOC, centering the rhetoric of the ruling class, they perpetuate the logic of settler colonialism and entrenched systems of dominance. We are not dealing with complex philosophical concepts. It's kindergarten logic. The two-state solution forces Palestinians to accept and legitimize a colony built on blood-stained lands from which we were forcibly displaced and to which we are fighting to return. Bowman, and by extension the NGOs that act as cronies for the caretakers of imperialism, try to convince Palestinians that in return for accepting this imperial outpost, they will graciously bestow upon human rights upon us. These liberal NGOs use movement resources, energy, time, and finances, diverting them into the Imperial Democratic Party. The Not on Our Dime campaign is structured to be another example of how Palestinian cause is used as a brand-building activity for politicians. Decolonization, reparations, indigenous resistance to settler colonialism, and liberalism, if these aren't part of organizing discussions in ways that advances Palestinian liberation, you're not in a struggle against imperialism, you're playing it nice in a social club. And that's essentially, so Rania Khaled, the grifter, coward, and opportunist that she is basically playing nice in a social club by platforming Zionists like Zionist war criminals and Zionist terrorists like Jamal Bowman and Miko Peled, right? And obviously, this is a clear indictment on the character of Breakthrough News. Breakthrough News is a liberal Zionist grift. They also platform liberal Zionists like Abby Martin, liberal Zionists like Katie Halper, liberal Zionists like Brianna Joy Gray, and liberal Zionists like Eugene Puryear and Brian Becker. And we're going to do a whole video about 972. again, this is another gem from Good Shepherd Collective. Hagai Matar, the executive director of 972, is repeating a claim that 5 months later has no evidence. Remember, each time you see their critical takes on the Zionist entity, this isn't a mistake. It's a pattern of liberal Zionism. Stop supporting these people. Justice in Palestine looks like right of return. This is another banger. Justice in Palestine looks like right of return and Palestinian sovereignty. It looks like material restitution. It looks like dismantling the violent systems of Zionism that maintain social, economic domination and building new systems that return dignity and power to the indigenous people. When we say we need decolonization, we do not mean we need to change Zionist settler hearts and minds. We mean that our stolen homes, our land, our water, our rights, all must be returned to us. It's not about peace. It's about ending the violence that prevents us from living. So, again, why the fuck is this opportunist and grifter, Rania Khaled, promoting Zionist settler Miko Peled? It doesn't make sense. Again, people like Miko Peled build their careers on our backs, on our prisoners, on our dead. People like Miko Peled cling to every ounce of privilege, then pretend there is a parallel between Palestinian resistance and colonial violence. Stop uplifting Miko Peled. Stop listening to Miko Peled. And that's why I didn't play the video, right? Miko Peled's agenda is to contain the Palestinian resistance, right? That's what his agenda is. And we don't platform Zionist settlers, right? I think more people are coming to this realization. This is another gem from Good Shepherd Collective, right? Shout out to Good Shepherd Collective. Here's what they say in the original tweet. So here's the original tweet. October 7th radicalized me. I was always supportive of Palestine before October 7th, 2023. But since October, I've become even more firm in my stance. Before October, I would amplify leftist Zionist settlers. Now I realize no Zionist settler is worth amplifying. It normalizes the Zionist entity. So again, this is a reminder of what post-Zionism is. Post-Zionism is a stage of identity and political ideology that accepts Zionism as a historical, political, and religious development for a majority of Jews globally. Instead of rejecting Zionism entirely, post-Zionists seek to move beyond it as an individual choice, viewing it as a historical event rather than something inherently tied to systems of capitalism and imperialism. Post-Zionists validate the Zionist identity to drive the permanence of a settler colonial entity beyond its nature as a settlement and outpost of the USA and forge as a viable nation. Viability is often driven by constant unnecessary reminders of anti-Semitism on moments of Palestinian strife, or reaffirming Zionist-invented identities, which is what Miko Peled is guilty of doing, by the way. So Zionists perpetually try to undermine indigenous resistance, not just in Palestine, but all native people battling colonialism. Dahlia's board position on Jewish currents is a reminder that the publication is a Zionist outlet that simply wants to be the 972 of the U.S. And we can say the same thing about Miko Peled's role in undermining the Palestinian liberation movement, right? This man, he wants to portray himself as an ally of Palestinians when he and his family have so much blood on their hands, so much guilt, these people are guilty of this man is guilty of settler colonialism, genocide, and war crimes, yet this coward, this puppet of China, Rania Khaled, continues to promote him. And this is not the only time Khaled has been an opportunist and a grifter. We'll get back to Pajit in a second, to VJ Pajit in a second. But I want to go to Khaled. So she's clearly Lebanese, but this site won't tell me where in Lebanon she's from. So here's the thing about Rania Khaled and her liberal Zionist grift. Rania Khaled is a Lebanese-American journalist, video host, and presenter. She hosts The Dispatches on Breakthrough News and has contributed to The Nation, The Gray Zone, The Intercept, Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting, The Electronic Intifada, RT, Salon, Mint Press News, and others. She was born and raised in the USA. Her parents are both Lebanese and migrated to the US in the late 1970s. So, yeah, Ta-Nehisi Coates is a Zionist cuck. So here's another example of normalization by Rania Khaled. Rania Khaled has appeared as a guest on Piers Morgan's talk show, Piers Morgan Uncensored. On May 12, 2024, she appeared with Emily Schrader, Elika Laban, and Thomas Hand. And on September 23, 2024, she appeared with Alan Dershowitz, a Zionist, and Gideon Levy, a literal Zionist settler. Again, Rania Khaled is a coward, a grifter, and an opportunist. You will never see me selling out to the Zionists. So here's a bit who Piers Morgan is. Holy shit. Piers Morgan's an Irishman? What the... I told you the Irish will sell you out in a jiffy. Let's see. Because this man is literally a Zionist grifter. Piers Morgan... Didn't he work for AIPAC? I'm pretty sure he worked for fucking AIPAC at one point. I'm pretty sure this man worked for AIPAC. I know he's been on CNN. But this is another example of how the Irish will sell you out in a jiffy. Who's this Emily Schrader? Emily Schrader is a Zionist settler and social activist. Holy shit. So Schrader was born in Seattle, raised in Los Angeles. She has a mixed Christian and Jewish background, but identifies as Jewish. And she's literally went to a Zionist education center on occupied Palestinian land and has a degree in public communications. And she became she was already a Zionist settler, but she became even a bigger Zionist settler in 2015. Of course, Yosef Haddad, the Zionist cuck, is engaged with her. And she has ties to Stand With Us. So why is Rania Khaled appearing on Piers Morgan's show with Emily Schrader? Why are you platforming a Zionist, a literal Zionist settler? I mean, Rania Khaled is an opportunist. Khaled also appeared on September 23, 2024 on the Piers Morgan's Uncensored show with Alan Dershowitz, again, a Zionist. This man is a Zionist, Alan Morton Dershowitz, who is a literal Zionist and writes Zionist propaganda books. And he was born in 1938 and the son of Claire Ringel and Harry Dershowitz, an Orthodox Jew couple. And he was raised in Borough Park in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. Pretty sure that's in Brooklyn, New York. And his dad was the president and founder of the Young Zionist of Borough Park Synagogue. And he attended Yeshiva University. Oh, and this man, this Dershowitz guy, and he's related to LA conservative rabbi Zvi Dershowitz, and he signed the Zionist Jewish future promise. I mean, and he's also a pervert. Dershowitz is also a pervert with ties to Epstein. Rania Khaled is a grifter and an opportunist. This puts her in a really, this doesn't look good for Rania Khaled. And Gideon Levy, a literal Zionist settler, a Zionist terrorist, and Zionist opportunist. So this man, Gideon Levy, is a Zionist settler from Czechoslovakia, from the city of Ostrava on one side, and his dad is from Saz in Sudetenland. This man is a Zionist settler. This man committed war crimes and was a propagandist for the IOF. He was a literal propagandist for Shimon Peres, who was butt buddies with Zionist hormone hobbit Lionel Messi. And then he became a propagandist for Haaretz. And he lives on stolen Palestinian land, which is the village of Sheikh Munis. Holy fudge. So he calls himself a Zionist, a patriotic Zionist. So, a patriotic Zionist settler. Jeez, this looks bad. Rania Khaled is a grifter. That's what she is, guys. That's what Rania Khaled, she's a grifter and a coward. And then you have the breakthrough news ties to Amanda Yee, shilling for Zionist China, even though, China is guilty for genocide and settler colonialism in Palestine. Many, many structural ties. And we're going to do a whole video on Amanda Yee and Vijay Pajit. We're going to do a whole video on Vijay Pajit. Again, recently, so this is what it says here. Recently, China Zionist entity trade hit a record of $20 billion per year. Chinese and Indian companies have privatized the Haifa port, which Netanyahu allowed against the wishes of the U.S. China's Belt and Road Initiative, begun in 2013, encouraged more companies to invest in the Zionist entity or set up research and development centers on stolen Palestinian land. Right? In 2014, Tel Aviv University and Tsinghua University of Beijing set up a $300 million research center. In 2015, Peking and Tel Aviv University signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a joint research institute. Again, this is China committing being guilty of genocide, committing genocide and settler colonialism in Palestine, enabling it. And then fucking China benders like Amanda Yee and Vijay Prashad, aka Vijay Pajit, have the nerve to say shit like this, right? And glorify Zionist China. So this is who Breakthrough News is full of cowards, opportunists, and grifters. Cowards. Rania Khaled is a coward. She's an opportunist, and she's a grifter. And the Lebanese community disowns Rania Khaled. So there you go.